make you feel a little bit older. In 2005, I was only 4 years old, so crazy. Yeah, I got started in 2019, right out of high school. No college and nothing, and then just was a solo agent. First 6 months, only closed one transaction. It was my aunt. Since then, we have about 7 agents. Our deal goal this year is we're trying to reach 100 deals this year for our first full year.
Welcome back to the Better Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Lavik, and I'm talking about real estate and how to be a better agent and have a better business and grow your real estate business. That's what I'm all about as an agent and as a team leader here. I'm in the Madison market in Wisconsin, and I'm also all about that with others and inviting other guests to join me in this dialogue and this conversation about how we can be a better agent. So that's what the Better Agent Podcast is all about. Here to share a bunch of tips and tricks and everything else that I think is working in today's market, and then also invite some of our guests to also share what's working with them. Today, I'm excited to hear from Kyle Ristow. He is an agent over in the Milwaukee market and relatively new in the real estate industry. I got started, I was licensed back in 2005, so I've been doing this almost 20 years. And I feel like I'm an old man almost here, right? And Kyle got started in 2019, and he's done over 300 transactions since then. So really excited to hear from Kyle and some of his story and kind of what's working for him and that kind of thing. So Kyle, turn it over to you and give a little intro about yourself and what's some of your background, your story, whatever else you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, for sure. So to make you feel a little bit older. In 2005, I was only 4 years old, so crazy. Yeah, I got started in 2019, right out of high school. No college and nothing, and then just was a solo agent. First 6 months, only closed one transaction. It was my aunt, and it's kind of how most people I feel like get started, which is their friends or family. But outside of that, the last 6 months of my first full year, COVID hit, and it honestly sparked a huge part of my business. And another reason why it sparked my business is because I joined one of the top teams in the area in my Keller Williams days when I first started, and finished the year. I actually joined as a showing partner, so all I did was just open up the doors for any reason there might be. My mentor was strictly a buyer agent, and we finished the year. Her and I did 20 deals in that last 6 months together. So that's how I got started and stayed in that showing partner role for another year and a half, or actually 2 years essentially. And I was doing over 1,000 showings a year. It's like over 3 a day, just on the road, put 40, 50,000 miles on my car every single year, and just was really learning because I was brand new. I was 18, 19, trying to sell real estate. I tried it, did one deal. So I was just like, all right, I got to figure something else out. But just started.
Hold on. Pause for 1 second. I just want to commend you because a lot of people come into this business and they see the big dollars, they see the big commissions, and you think, okay, I can do this. You know what? I'm not going to college. I'm not doing this, or whatever pathway people get into this business. Right. And you learned something that I think all of us learn at some point is like, holy cow, this is kind of hard to find clients, get clients to feel comfortable using you as their agent. And yeah, certainly friends and family maybe are more amenable and will help you out because they love you and care about you. But dealing with total strangers when you're brand new can be really, really hard. But I think what you hit on is very important, is finding another mentor, another person to partner with, another person. Even if you make less money per transaction, it is totally worth that investment in terms of your education, right? I mean, you're investing in that. I know when I first started, I started with my mom. She's a realtor as well. Okay. That's how I got started. I was not fresh out of high school, but I was fresh out of college, and I didn't really know what I wanted to be when I grow up. And I kind of got started, I didn't close that many deals either my first year. But I think I learned a lot in that process, and finding a good mentor was definitely critical to my success. And I think that same success leaves clues here with your story. So I love that. And I just wanted to highlight that for people. But yeah, go ahead, share a little bit more.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. Mentors, that's the first thing if you're new in real estate, that's a need. Even if you're well experienced, 20 plus years, everyone could use a mentor or coach as well. So, but yeah, it was just any reason the door needed to be open, I was there, and it was buyer friendly anyway, so it worked perfectly. I didn't have any liability because technically it was my client, but not necessarily my client essentially, or I'm not writing offers and whatnot. I was just doing showings, and and doing it that way. And yeah, just learned a ton and kind of evolved in that role. Was a lead gen manager. So I just managed ISAs, OSAs, redid websites, did some social media work as well. And then eventually evolved into like a buyer agent, full-time buyer agent that way. So lead gen manager, buyer agent, and then over time, I spent about 3 years or so at that team and that brokerage. And then I actually branched off, started my own team with a new brokerage, Compass, year 3, and then did that for about a year and a half. I had a partner, didn't really pan out the way we wanted to pan out. So I just started out my own thing and my own team, which was last March of 25. And since then, we have about 7 agents. We're in the Kenosha. We got an agent in the Kenosha market, Madison market. I'm in Milwaukee personally, and then looking to hire somebody in Beloit and Green Bay. And then I'll be pretty much done expanding for the most part in Wisconsin, at least for this year. So that's where I'm hoping to go and where I'm currently at. Our deal goal this year is we're trying to reach 100 deals this year for our first full year, and then slowly but surely grow that every single year going forward.
There you go. That makes sense. No, I think that's an interesting perspective. I mean, I know a lot of agents, right, really more focused on kind of just their own market, and I'm probably guilty of that too, right? Like I'm pretty much just in the Madison market. I'm not in Milwaukee or Beloit or Green Bay or anything like that. But I know certainly there's some teams out there that do have that kind of model. How do you support that, or what does that look like, or how do you grow that, or enlighten me? I'm interested because I think both myself and other listeners on our show today might be curious, like, oh my gosh, how can I think beyond just my local market to expand, and what does that look like?
Totally. Yeah. And I wasn't too purposeful on honestly expanding. What I preach is just like, you just keep continuing doing the right things every single day, having real estate conversations more and more, and doors tend to just open up. So I connected like for Beloit. The reason why I really want Beloit is because I connected with an investor who's out in Beloit and does a decent amount of deals down there. And it's an 1.5-hour drive constantly back and forth if I have to go out there. And it's just like, I don't know. I started branching out more and more and just getting more leads, like in the Madison market, Beloit market, up in the Green Bay, Sheboygan, so on and so forth. And it's like, I'm one person, I can't handle all of this. So it's honestly just blessed with getting a decent amount of leads in, and they're come from all over the place. And it's like, I used to give out the referrals, but I was like, I have a team already, like mine, not keep growing it and keep it all in-house essentially. So that's how I did that. And honestly, the Madison agent, I wasn't too proactive again, trying to grow out in that market, but I got a call from the ad, just a normal like real estate ad, like a Google local service ad. So you type in like realtors near me or whatnot. Google local service ad calls me, and then he's like, yeah, I'm thinking about switching brokerages. He's also somewhat newer, younger as well. And I'm like, this fits what our team is, because all of our team members are very young and hungry and driven. And I was like, let's continue this conversation. And over the course of like 2 or 3 months, he's on our team now. And yeah, it's kind of, again, not really too proactive. It just happened, but I just every single day just did the right things and just had real estate conversations, and done a lot of trainings, a lot of coaching and whatnot. And what I've always been told is try to have 20 real estate conversations with 20 different people every single day, and stuff is going to happen. And it's just like, okay, I'm just going to keep doing that then.
What a simple mantra: 20 conversations per day and magical things will happen. And this is not a new formula. This is a very time and tested, proven formula. If you're struggling in your real estate business at all, focus on having more real estate conversations. If you focus on 20 a day, you'll absolutely be making things happen. What I remember, I mean, I came from KW as well. I know you said you were there with another team there. I spent 9 years with KW, and that's, some of their training. I know they kind of espouse this 20 per day formula as well. There's agents. I'm a part of EXP right now. There's an agent right now. That's all their team focuses on is 20 conversations per day. And they're just exploding left and right. So those conversations will lead to more business than you know what to do with. And then suddenly you'll have expansion problems and you have to figure it out. Right. But like suddenly it's a matter of just getting those connections and getting those to happen. So I think what's interesting too, what stood out to me is like, And I haven't, like I said, I haven't expanded personally. I'm pretty much just in the Madison market, but I have, I've sent out referrals all across the state and across the country and that kind of thing. And I think that, what you identified though was like you have a key lead source, right? You have a big investor or a handful of investors maybe in the Beloit market. And so if you have a lead source, boom, that makes it an opportunity for another person to work and go after. So I think, that's something I know I've heard from other teams that have expanded and other companies even that have expanded. Like if you have a lead source that's feeding it, quit. Maybe that's the time to expand, right? Is like, instead of just handing off the referral, maybe just keep it in-house and manage it, right? Have a person that's a part of your team and more invested. So I like that model. Good for you.
Exactly. And the investor wanted to keep it also in-house too. He didn't want to necessarily like trust other people and whatnot, just because I had built such a good relationship with him as well. And then, that's kind of our business model is I have a few like investors. They do a lot of their own marketing as well to try and find deals like the cash, quick closing, whatnot type of marketing. But 90% of them or more even don't turn into like a cash deal or a flip or whatnot. So what do they turn into? They turn into listings for myself, or potential listings, I should say. And then it's just like, I don't know, they get leads all over the place too. And I do a little bit of my own marketing as well. And just kind of all feeds into each other. And like I said, it expanded and we had to fill it in and eventually and just like find the right people to handle all these leads. So, but definitely did not start out that way, because it was like, I always just wanted to, I need to get busy. I need to get busy.
Yeah.
And then just blew up with a ton of showings. And then I was just like, okay, I'm just having a very small piece of the pie. And it's like, I know how to do all of this now. Now let's grow and get bigger and start doing my own thing. And eventually, like I said, you just keep doing the right things, and then over time it will grow. And what I find most people are doing is they quit after like a year or first or second year or whatnot, because it does take time to grow, and it's very little paycheck. And I always have a graph. It's like, here's the amount of work that you do and here's your paycheck. But eventually it goes like this, and then your paychecks start flying up like crazy, and then the amount of work you do can go down eventually through leverage and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, totally. And I think what's too interesting is, the faster you can accelerate that curve, the faster they converge, right?
Yep.
So if you're just out there grinding away and not getting a mentor, not doing enough showings, or not having enough clients, like you need to get in an environment. You need to change your environment, which you did. I commend you for doing, right? You're like, okay, this is for 6 months. This ain't working. If I close one deal every 6 months, I'm going to go broke. Okay. I got to change my environment. I need to get in and around a productive team and like, okay, great. I'm going on showings. I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but you know what? I can drive somebody and unlock a door, show them the house. No problem. Okay. And you learned in that process. So even if, whatever it is, you need to be in front of properties and in front of people. That's where the conversion is going to happen. That's where the deals are going to happen. And that's where you're going to get your experience and your knowledge for sure. So, so I love that. I love that for sure. Yeah, man, that's cool. So tell me more about this. I don't know what's working really well for you, I guess, in terms of lead source or opportunities. I know we talked about make 20 conversations a day, but like, who do you call? How do you call them? Where do you do? What do you do? How do you identify? I mean, what's working for you these days to generate the most promising leads?
Totally. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people, it's like, okay, you have that 20 real estate conversations, and then they try 20 different ways to have 20 different real estate conversations. They get like bogged down and they just try to do too much. And for myself and our team, our motto is just like the one thing. This goes back to the Keller Williams days and Gary Keller, and read his book. I read his book at least once a year, the one thing book. And all we focus on is what's the one thing I could do today in order for me to set an appointment? Because if I don't go on an appointment today, what really did I accomplish as a realtor? And it doesn't have to necessarily be a buyer or a seller. It could be a potential referral source. It could be a podcast just like this, or whatever the case may be, just talking about real estate, building connections with whoever, as long as you're talking about real estate and going on those appointments. So what we do, a lot of my one thing time block every single day to lead generate for at least 1 hour. So then it prevents me to have a yo-yo business, because every single day I'm lead generating, and I hold true to that lead generation. So once I build up those deals and build up those appointments, I don't just get busy and then I stop lead generating, because then my business goes up and down like crazy. So every single day, one thing, what are you going to do to lead generate? And it's you personalize it. So like one agent on our team only does expireds for like that 1 hour, or potentially like circle prospecting around their neighborhood. I know an agent who farms specific neighborhoods, so they call around that neighborhood. They try to do open houses, try to get listings, provide value in that neighborhood. For me, a lot of it's just like lead follow up, just because we have got a lot of leads, honestly, just to follow up with. And then also from like my investor referrals, like, hey, we try to get this cash offer done. They want to sell. Here you go. And that's honestly what I do for newer leads. And I only focus on personally listings now. And the rest of the team kind of buyers or sellers for the most part, whatever they get thrown their way, they just run with for the most part. But I only really work with sellers. So if I find a buyer, send it out to the team. So just every single day. Again, I know it's 20 real estate conversations, but I just try to keep it as simple as physical possible, especially for like the newer agents on our team too, because it's like they get so bogged down or overwhelmed very quickly. And it's just like, time block 1 hour a day. I'm not asking you to do like 20 hours or like crazy. Like, you don't even need to make 100 phone calls. For them, I just start off with 3 real estate conversations. Who can you have conversations with? 3 different people today. And even if it's just one, if you're first starting out, just do one, and then eventually you could hit that 20 a day. But that's kind of our motto right there.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great motto. I think I've read that book several times as well, and I think it is easy to get lost in the details, right? And like, because there's all lead gen sources work, right? If you put enough effort and focus and energy into making it work, right? If you just call expireds one day every month or 2, then yeah, it's probably not going to work. But if you do it every day and you're hungry and go super focused and deep on how can I get this expired? How can I go get an expired listing appointment today? Right?
Yeah.
How can I put enough effort and energy to finding that opportunity today? You'll find it. And if you just dig a little bit deeper, then I've experienced it too, and just had that happen. I think it's also helpful too, right? That lead follow-up conversation, right? So many times it's easy to just focus on the next shiny object, the next new lead that just came in, or the next new open house, or the next new whatever. And yeah, we all want new leads to help further grow our business, but like so much of that fortune is in that follow-up. And how many times, do we have a lead that's been sitting in the database for a year or 2 or 3 or who knows long, and you haven't called them or followed up with them, right? And so you may call them and follow up, and I've had this many times happen to me, right? Oh yeah. Sorry, we already bought a home with Kyle over in Milwaukee.
Exactly.
Thanks for your help, Josh. Whereas if you would have just been hyper focused on that follow-up, boom, I would have gotten that opportunity, And so some of those missed opportunities, I think, are leads and opportunities that people already have. And just if you can get a little bit more diligent about that lead follow-up. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And that 1 hour doesn't have to just be like lead generation. It's a lot of it's lead follow-up too. So sometimes it takes 14 conversations with a lead just for them to sit down with you in an appointment. Sometimes even more. Like I've been following up. I converted a listing earlier this year that came across the table 4 years ago. And it's just every quarter, I just keep following up. But another motto that we have is we follow up until they die or until we die. So it's like they're at least getting one touch point with us every single year at minimum. And a lot of times too, like I'm in business now 7 years. So a lot of people are like in that time period where they just bought their first house like 6 years ago or whatever. And then now they're looking to upgrade and their family's growing, and touching base on their past clients, not even just lead follow-up, just past clients. Another thing we offer for all of our clients is like annual in-home valuations as well too. So getting in front of a past client, and maybe they did some major renovations and now their house is worth 100K more than what they expected it. And now they're like, oh, maybe we want to buy again and move again and cash out now. And you never know. There's always just opportunities, and you never know what's going to happen. You just have to get in front of them, and away you go.
Yeah, no, I think it's really resonating with me, because actually 2 appointments that I have right now, one I had yesterday, they are doing exactly what you just said, right? They're thinking about maybe moving to Tucson or Chicago area. right?
Yeah.
They've got family in both areas. And so they've been in their house 36 years. Okay. The house is paid for. They don't have to move. They're
Yeah.
fine, but like they're thinking about it. And so, yeah, we did that. I did exactly what you're talking about. In-home valuation. We went over the numbers. They're going to think about it over the next month or two and then maybe make a decision, but maybe stay there another year or two. They don't have to move, but like, I think having that top of mind awareness is something that's absolutely going to happen. And then actually after our podcast show today, I had a meeting with someone else who I met with like a year ago. They were in the same boat, right? Thinking about making a move. Okay, guess what? Life changed. Life happens. I'm ready to go now. So we're meeting later today. So yeah, it's like just continuing to stay in the flow and in those conversations, and then things, business will happen when you least expect it, but you expect it because you're consistent on that one thing, like you said. So I love that.
Yep. Whatever lead gen source you use will work as long as you're consistent with it. And one thing that we try to stay consistent with our existing database is our 36 touch campaign, which is another Keller Williams thing that I've learned. But you're basically reaching out to that past client or friend or sphere, whoever it is, 36 times throughout the entire year. And it's like their homeowner, we send out like a monthly home care email. That's 12 conversations or 12 contact attempts throughout the entire year. And you get like a quarterly call, and that's another 4. Then if you have client events, there's usually 4 or 5 contact attempts, inviting them, reminding them about the event, seeing them there at the event, and then follow up on the event. So you do 2 or 3 of those a year. Now you're 36, and you throw in like a monthly newsletter or like a monthly home care or neighborhood report or whatever. Now you can reach up to like 70 plus contact attempts throughout the entire year. So you're always just on top of mind, and it's always just providing value at the end of the day, because most realtors are honestly just like sleazy car salesmen, or they're just like trying to get the next deal, next paycheck. Let's go. It's like, if you just provide value and you just like really truly care about them as a human being and their goals, like business is going to follow, and you're going to get a lot more referrals that way too.
Yeah. No, I think people appreciate just trying to provide value and just trying to be there and be a resource. I think that's helpful, right? I think people appreciate too authenticity. I love, right? You're showing up here, hat backwards, wearing a hoodie, and you told me I think this is like your everyday. This is your going to work clothes. Is that right?
Yeah. I told you before I hopped on, I was like, this is kind of normally how I do business. I'm just like very approachable, kind of human to human. And it's like, I'm not trying to be above you or whatnot. And people who wear suits are like, great. Like, I don't knock them one bit at all. It's just, I'm very kind of nonchalant, just very approachable for the most part. Like, I went to a listing appointment looking very similar to this yesterday, and we barely even talked about we just talked about like their man cave and like the sports and whatnot, and just being a human to human. And I always just say, like, secret of sales is like people that will work with you if they know you, like you, and trust you. And we barely even talk about real estate or like the sales process. For the most part, it was just being a human to human conversation, and having a good time during the listing appointment. And we are listening on Thursday.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I think people sense authenticity. That's what stands out to me, right? Whether you're wearing a suit or whether you're wearing a hoodie and a hat, like, you got to be real. And that's what people appreciate. And I've noticed it on even all different price points. I mean, I've sold $2 million homes on Lake Mendota, and I've sold $50,000 condos on the west side of Madison, little tiny studio condos, and everything in between. And every single client just appreciates you to be that authentic, real, and give them honest insight, feedback, opinion about what you think. And like, at the end of the day, if you're trying too hard to pretend that you know something that you don't actually know, and you're not showing up authentic with your true authenticity, you're totally missing the mark. And it's a subtle shift, I think, because right, we all want to do a good job. We want to show up for our clients, and we want to help out, and we want to provide service. And sometimes I think agents get in a mindset of feeling like they have to have all the answers.
Right.
And I think that's kind of a mistake, right? You don't have to have all the answers, at least immediately. Yeah, you might need I think a true professional, though, and someone that's authentic, says what they do know and what they don't know. And like, even when you were a showing agent, like, you weren't trying to pretend you're the buyer's agent. You're the showing agent. Hey, you want to write an offer? You want a true opinion from a professional? You better talk to your buyer agent. I'm here to open the door, and I'm here to provide my service based on what I know today. But your knowledge and your insight grew over time, and your authenticity maintain the same though. And I think that's appreciated by any client, right?
Yeah. Just being honest will set you apart from the rest of the crowd a lot. It's just like, it's kind of sad to say, but it is very truthful. It's just like, if you're just being honest and trying to be a good person, and you're going to get a lot of business, and you're going to get a lot of referrals and then repeat clients as well too. And it's like, and are you going to potentially lose a sale? It's like, when I was doing showings and whatnot, a lot of people aren't necessarily looking behind like crevices and corners and whatnot. And you could see like this big foundation issue, and it'd be like, hopefully they waive the inspection and then I can get this sale done, blah, blah, blah. And their house crumbles a few years later. And now it's like, they come back to you and then they blame you and whatnot. It's like, why didn't you tell us about this? And you knew about it. It's a kind of an extreme example, but that honestly happens a lot in our industry. So I always just like point it out, and if it costs them a deal or they don't want to buy the house anymore, like, so be it, we're gonna find a better one, and they're gonna appreciate that honesty and tell their friends about it, and then get more referrals and again repeat clients. So
yeah, I love that. It's we always want to talk about the growth and how we're getting better and better every day. And at the end of the day, sometimes you may screw up and you may make a mistake, and right, things aren't always roses. And like, so I'm interested in hearing about maybe a story or example you have of a dip, right? Some of that yo-yo downtime where maybe things weren't going well and things like that. But I know for me, and a specific example that comes to mind just based on what you're telling me is like, I had a client years ago that they bought an older home, but it was actually up for sale by owner. So we found it kind of off market, we thought it was a great deal. It was a great fit for them. And we ended up negotiating a deal to get them into the house. And they were so excited and so appreciative, but it was, built in the early 1900s, and we didn't have a home warranty on the property. And they get moved in, and suddenly there was some plumbing leak or something significant happened in the basement, and they're having this major issue right after closing. They're like, oh my God, Josh, why didn't you suggest I get a home warranty? I'm buying a house in the early 1900s. What the heck? Why didn't you do that? And I felt terrible, but and I ended up buying them a home warranty and helping with the repair costs because that's just what I felt like I should do. But at the end of the day, it's like, I didn't have to do that. I could have just said, well, sorry, you should have had a home warranty, right? But I didn't. I mean, I owned up to it and offered to pay for it myself. But I think, one of those learning mistakes that now I bring up home warranties with just about every client. And not that I'm pushing them one way or the other. I'm sort of home warranty agnostic. Some people love home warranties. Some people think they're a ripoff. I don't really care. But at the end of the day, if you don't give them that option, give them that choice, I think that's what people appreciate. And, you need to at least give them that option to choose or not choose. So
exactly. That's a huge thing. Always giving sellers options. Because that's why I like doing the investor mind and then the realtor mind as well too. Because not everybody wants to work with a realtor. Not everybody wants to work with an investor as well. It's like just giving them options. Now it's not, hey, do I want to work with Kyle to sell my house? It's like, what option do I choose with Kyle to sell my house, essentially, because we give them all the options.
Yeah, totally. I've done the same thing. I've gone on I remember I had a call last year, and I thought it was a listing appointment call. And yeah, I'm calling about helping you sell your house. And a guy says to me, I don't want to list it. I just want to sell it. I got an offer. If you want to come make me an offer, you can. If not, get lost. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. So I went and looked at it as an investor, as a buyer, right? Yeah. And like, it's kind of interesting, right? People as agents, I think, sometimes assume you're always in that listing agent mindset, and you don't have to be, right? If you can just open up and expand that option to be that investor, be that buyer yourself, right? Maybe you are the buyer. There you go.
Yep, exactly. And then also, just when you're going that listing route too, you don't necessarily have to hit the market. There's always private exclusive that you can potentially explore as well. And yeah, there's a lot of options out there, and just trying to be as well versed in all the options possible. It just again opens up your like service area, essentially, just kind of like expanding like Madison and whatnot. We can service more people and help more people, and if you give them options, you can help them the way they want to be helped as well too.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So tell me a negative story. What's a challenge or sometime down point in your career that maybe you learned a lot, or anything come to mind?
My first deal with my aunt, that was probably the worst transaction I ever dealt with. Crazy story. And I really, truly did not know what I was doing. And I had a mentor at the time as well too. And it just, everything just went bad. It was a short sale deal as well. I didn't even know what a short sale was. Listing agent was one of the top agents in the area, knew everything about anything. Honestly, he just does 100+ deals every single year. And he knew I was a brand new agent. So it went through like the short sale process and whatnot, but the deal fell apart. I was like, okay, this should still, it already got approved. So it should be an easy, quick 1 month, 2 month deal. Now I have to go back through this process again. And it was like, could take 8 months or more potentially. And it was a very bad servicing company I found out as well. And they're very slow. And I was just like, oh no, my aunt is under contract now. And I didn't know it was a short sale deal before I submitted the offer. And I was just like, well, you told me there was not going to be any issues too. That I believed them. That's one of my golden rules, is never trust anybody at all either. Get everything in writing. But either way, write an offer, get accepted offer, and come to find out we're like a week before closing, and we still didn't have the approval. I'm just like, okay, everything's in my aunt's house is boxed up already, ready to rock and roll. Her lease ends as well. And during this entire time, COVID also hit in the middle of it. And we're just like, oh my goodness, everything that could go wrong is going wrong, especially through a pandemic on top of it. So yeah, long story short, like she was able to keep extending her lease because of COVID, and she kept obviously paying the monthly fee, but they were just like, yeah, we don't want to do any turnover. Like, if you can stay as long as you want. And we're just like, thank God. So we got accepted offer in like beginning of March, and then ended up closing end of May. Also, the crazy thing is too, during the entire time, the seller listing agent accepted 2 offers and didn't tell anybody. So we were able to close. But when we got that clear to close, that message like, hey, it finally got approved, we can close and move. They copied another agent that was brand new in my office. And you're like, wait, why are we both on this email? And her client was moving from South Carolina to Wisconsin, and mine was just in Wisconsin already, just in an apartment looking to buy a house. We were a day earlier, so I guess we were the winning offer. But that client was moving from South Carolina here and now can't anymore. And it was like 2 days before closing or whatnot. And it was just like crazy situation. A lot of stuff happened afterwards. I'm not going to really go in depth about, but we learned quite a lot. And she honestly bought that property, and by the time she moved in, COVID shot all the home values up like crazy, and she had like over 50,000 in instant equity into the house. So
Yeah.
it worked out for my buyer, my aunt, and it was a great deal to begin with, but it was a hell of a ride for sure. A lot of things going up. She was like, I'm gonna go homeless and blah 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 in other houses, and every other house we looked at by that time had 40+ offers within like 2 hours and whatnot. And it's just like, and I'm brand new right out of high school. I was like, I don't know what I just did. And I'm now like trying to be a therapist. Realtors don't just sell real estate. They're therapists, they're inspectors, they didn't need to know everything and anything for the most part. And it's just like, I don't know a single thing. And it worked out in the end, but that was the worst, craziest deal I've ever been a part of for sure.
Yeah. Wow.
So
well, sometimes that first one, right? That can be the learning lesson. That can be the pivotal moment. It sounds like it was definitely for you. I mean, you could have run away from this industry with your tail between your legs and said, okay, this ain't for me. I'm going to go back to school, or I'm going to go get a different job, or I'm going to go do whatever, who knows what. You could have gone 1,000 different directions, but you didn't. You decided, okay, that was a traumatic experience. I need a better mentor. I need a different environment. I need more training. I need something, right? Like something's got to change. And you took that step and you kept going, So I just want to commend you for that, right? Like, I think if agents are in that down point, have a terrible transaction, have maybe a couple terrible transactions, terrible quarter even. I mean, we had kind of a slower first quarter than we did last year, right? Like, it happens, right? So how do you bounce back from that? I think you come through with that mindset of like, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to find a different mentor. I'm going to find a different coach. I'm going to find a different way to get this done. And if you do, then you'll come out of that trough. You'll come out and you're going back up. And that's how, I mean, I've experienced it myself, and it sounds like you're obviously proof that works as well, right? Because you could have quit, and I think a lot of agents quit almost too early, right? They give up before, they think they should get that big paycheck before the convergence, right? Yep. So just don't give up too soon. Just keep going. And then eventually, if you do keep going, you'll get there,
Definitely. You just got to believe in yourself and never give up. And it's just like, eventually it'll come. And I just kept believing. I was like, eventually I'll get busy. Eventually I'll get a paycheck. Eventually. And it was just like doing the right things every single day. And then the floodgates started opening like crazy. And I was just like so busy where I couldn't even like think at it anymore. And I was like putting, like I said, 50,000 miles in my car, working 100+ hours a week. And I was just doing showings. And it was just like, imagine if I was also writing offers or also having manage like a website or social media or whatever the case may be. I'm just like, holy cow. So it really opened up my eyes, but again, learned a ton, like sacrificed bigger paychecks for a lot of little, very small ones. But at the end of the day, the education that I learned and the systems and processes that I learned, now I can share with the agents on my team. And I have a team of 7 agents, and now we're just like growing. And I couldn't have done that without all that knowledge that I've learned from like that mentor and that team as well. So
totally,
everything happens for a reason.
I love that, man. We've been chatting quite a while. We've had a great conversation. I feel like touched on a lot of key things, right? Don't forget to do 20 conversations a day. So simple. Build that 36 touch plan, stay in touch. Don't give up. Find a good mentor. You can think about expanding outside your market, if that's a possibility, right? Identify a lead source and, look and think bigger than yourself. I mean, man, we've hit a lot of great things. Anything else that comes to mind for you before we sign off for our show today that you wanted to share?
Just keep it simple, salesperson. A lot of people say keep it simple, stupid, but I learned from one of my coach that just keep it simple, salesperson. Do 20 real estate conversations every single day. Keep filling up the top of the lead funnel and follow up with that 36 touch campaign until they close, and just keep repeating every single day. So
every single day.
Well,
1 hour of lead gen every single day, 20 conversations a day. Keep it simple, salesperson. I love it. Very cool. Well, that's our show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Kyle Ristow and myself sharing some of our tips about what's working today in the 2026 real estate market. And hope you guys tune in next time to the Better Agent Podcast. Again, I'm Josh Lavik with Kyle Ristow. Thank you guys for listening, tuning in. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Better Agent Podcast. I hope you found today's insights valuable. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for more tips, Q&A sessions, and sneak peeks into our 21-day challenge. To get full access of our show notes and more details on the 21-day challenge, go to abetterrealestateexperience.com. Keep striving for greatness, and I'll see you on the next episode.